Okay. Good afternoon, Miss Rivas. How you doing today? I'm doing all right. So, week go well?
The lesson?
Did the week go well?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Implemented a couple changes, and I think I'm seeing the benefit of it. Not 100%, but some.
Describe your changes.
New groups, new unit. So
Yeah.
new unit means new groups. I allow students to pair up with someone because Dane suggested that.
Oh.
And I took his suggestion.
Go into pairs?
Yes, go in
Oh,
pairs,
perfect.
and then I make them as a group.
I saw that.
And yesterday, day one, it went very smooth. Day two, somewhat, but I'm sort of challenging them to work as a group because I know that in the past units, not that they've refused, but it's hard for them to work with individuals that maybe they don't feel comfortable doing math with. So as a reason, the idea of pairing them up, so at least they have someone who they could go to in case they get stuck.
Yeah.
So today, it was maybe a 70%, it went well, 70% I want to say. Yesterday was a little bit higher, but I'm just going to continue giving them points. So they're competing for a lunch at the end of that term.
So, hearing three things. One, you're trying this new structure with students working in portable groups, essentially, working in fours and then working in pairs. You thought the first day went really well, and then today you don't feel like it went particularly well. We'll discuss that. Let's discuss that in a second because I disagree. And then just kind of getting students comfortable with it because they want to have a friend who they can work with. And then then maybe that transfers to two groups. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And then while you're doing that, as you're circulating it around, you're monitoring that, and they get to compete for something as an incentive.
Right.
So all that being said, I think you're in a good place with that. Even watching this today. Let's talk about your lesson today. So as far as for your GROW score, you got a 3.5. There's literally no 2s, 5 4s, 5 3s. It was a very, very successful lesson in a lot of respects. Your management was effective as always. The kids really have a lot of respect for you. Do you know that, right?
If you say so, I don't know.
They always have respect for you, and because you ask them to do something, they totally do it. So not only that, you're teaching grade level mathematics, and you hold the line and hold a high standard for these kids. What do you attribute that to? Your constant effectiveness.
I don't know, maybe consistency to some extent.
Yeah.
At least today, I don't want to move forward until the first task was done because it was going to be needed.
Yeah.
So just holding everyone accountable to the expectation that there is for the lesson, at least for today.
Yeah. So you said you didn't think this was a successful lesson. I'm seeing the kids 95%. I did a count at one point. 95% of the kids were on task. As I was walking around, there was all but 1 to 2 students that were trying to find the residuals of the equation that was given. Do you not think that was a successful lesson?
I think the problem is that it's not consistent throughout the period. And I'm not sure if they're depending on me. Like I want to let go, explore, make mistakes, have questions. And I guess as I'm circulating and trying to encourage students to do the work, maybe I don't see it consistent throughout the period. And that's, for me, not measuring effectiveness.
Do you think that's an issue with them just having a productive struggle around procedural fluency?
I think so.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about this today. If you had to pinpoint, and this is going to get to GROW Standard 5, if you had to pinpoint one mathematical idea they're having trouble with, or 1 or 2 mathematical ideas they're having trouble with as it pertains to just the line of best fits, statistics, the regression line, what do you think it would be?
One, write an equation.
Mm.
If they can't write an equation, then they can't find the procedure.
Gotcha.
And then along with that goes the slope.
Gotcha.
So simple fact of can you know, do you know how to find the slope?
Gotcha. Let's pull up your IP for today's lesson, and then we will look at tomorrow's lesson. And I want to show you something.
Can I get up? I'm sorry. Or one, two, right?
Yeah. Okay, so for this, when you're looking at this table, what do you think and when they were trying to come up with this equation, and then when they tried to create this, do you think it was a procedural issue or a conceptual issue?
So you saw that we had to, us together as a class with one student provided me. We decided to go by a certain amount, what's it called? Values, right?
Yeah.
So this here's procedural plotting point. It's very
Yeah.
procedural. Writing an equation, I think, is procedural.
Yeah.
It's not conceptual, it's just applying it to the problem.
Yeah. So in avoiding just like, and those are the things that students stumble with the most. With that, when we're doing statistics, what do you think one of the big ideas we're trying to drive home is? When they're using, let me rephrase that question. When they're doing statistics, when they're actually creating a line of best fit in real life, are they ever doing it manually? Are they ever creating the equation manually? This is my suggestion. And I think this will actually push into kind of what we're actually focusing on. Our good friends at Desmos have a way to do a line of best fits. Because you see this, this is manual, and then,
The action.
how long do you think this took the students?
No, it took the entire, almost the entire period.
How long do you think this took me?
A minute max. But actually, we are gonna go to.
That's the next lesson. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of this, is because the next lesson, when they're actually talking about, like, when they're talking about the next part where they're actually, not the residual, the squares. It's the least squares regression line. The LSR. When they're doing that, they actually have a Desmos activity.
Right.
But for future fun, it's super straightforward to create it. Like, if you just like throw the single approximation point and just go mx1 plus b, it goes straight to it. It was like, I was watching the lesson, I was watching the students do, and I was just like, let's see if I can just do the regression line. And then just like, it takes a minute.
But I think this is a conversation that Mr. Stroud and I had prior to this lesson, because he also taught this lesson. And we had this conversation last year as well. Because the book wants them to do the line of best fit manually.
Yeah.
But there's no purpose behind it, because in statistics, you have to do it using a computer. How long have you been teaching math? 13 years. Mr. Stroud has been teaching about 8, correct? You guys, and you were 2 of the most effective math teachers I have ever seen in my life. Do you not think I don't trust you to make an adjustment right here? Make it. I trust you to do that. And like, even if you sit down and like, you know how to find me. If you're really wondering if this is the right move, you can always send me a text. You can always send me a text or send me an email about whether or not it is. Because even if you look at, like, I even pulled up the progression. I was even just looking at the progressions just to verify in my mind that manually plotting the point is not necessarily the intent of the standards. And yes, when you go to IS6, it's all graphical representations. So if they spend more time just like getting the line, getting the equation, because even in Desmos, they'll Yeah.
They'll hook it up for you. What do you think that's going to give you more time to do?
Focus on the real, statistics. What is it, the residual, a more accurate one? Because whatever they're doing is not.
And then what else does that give you more space to do when students are sharing work?
Me or this?
When the student, what can you focus? You're focusing on what at that point?
The consumption.
Yeah, you can focus on student responses at that point. So then you're actually focusing on more of the responses, like that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So looking at the exit slips.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to
Use those exit slips. I saw
that
it.
first question is technically having them do a line of best fit, so it sort of defeats it. I mean, obviously we could write our own exit slips that we have in the past, but hearing you and looking at the exit slip, there's sort of
I saw it because it had the scatter plot, it had the equation for it. These exit slips are in beta mode right now, and I didn't think the question was bad.
No, it wasn't.
But I think when you make a judgment on how to adjust a lesson, that may just changes what it is, because the purpose really, especially in statistics, a lot of it is conceptual. It's not necessarily I have to manually plot that. You want the kids to be able to interpret a graph.
Correct.
And so it's really about interpretation more than it is about okay, let me just plot these 30 points and then try to guess the line. You just want to be precise about it. Okay, so that being said, here are kind of your 3 action steps at this point. And I don't know if do you do the booklet, or what do you do?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not the book.
The meat notes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about like your coaching booklets.
No.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. So there's 3 things. So specific to Unit 4, use the graphing utility.
Okay. Sorry. Take out Unit 3.
Yeah. 2, we'll adjust the IP to monitor for misconceptions on the conceptual side and not necessarily worry so much about the graphing. And then the third part, because now you'll have more time for that, you can focus on just like circulating to see student responses, as opposed to having to tutor them on plotting the points.
So have those guided questions ready, so when I approach them and they need some help, ask them, or if they have them understand how it relates to the problem.
Yeah, because then you can do it's an easier pathway to do like ask 3 before me, or something like that, as opposed to having to tutor every student on, hey, is this point right? Is that point right? Because that's a lot of work on your end of it. So if they have that taken care of, then they can actually think about the map. They can think about the why behind a line of best fits, or like, as opposed to just like trying to get the precision of the points, because they've already practiced in 8th grade to some extent. They've done the manualist part of it. They've already been frustrated about it once, so you might as well just get right to the graph.
Okay.
So let's kind of just sit through 413, and then let me see if I can find the CPM exit slip while I'm at it.
I have it.
Oh, you do? Okay, let's take a look at it.
Well, based on that suggestion,
Yeah.
they have one more to graph.
Mm-hmm.
The modification that we're making, we're gonna have them create this table on decimals.
Yes.
And have the computer give them the equation.
Yeah.
And then analyze, okay, this is what, I don't know, I think this one's asking for residual as well, so they can calculate it more accurately.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's up to you if you want to, how much you want to walk them through the function of decimals, but it is a pretty straightforward, it's pretty straightforward. It's literally, you just have them plot the table, plot y of 1 equal, and then the approximation mx1 plus b. It's like literally you could just do it, just guide them, I do, you do, I do, you do, we do, or even just like do it like a guided note. And they should be able to nail it.
Okay.
Whether you want to do it individually or groups, it's kind of up to you. We can kind of discuss that.
Okay.
All right, so let's kind of sit and kind of hash this out.
This is 413.
Uh-huh.
This is the one at the Bowman type data.
Mm-hmm.